Why is there no fucking? Why is this the thing? Anyway, um, let's see here. I'm gonna wait for a second to get it going. La la la. My goodness, what a damn game! First and foremost, not gonna see a lot of what the fuck. Hold on. Write this password down. All right. Good. Anyway, trying to get into Facebook, which is just always a blast. Bama, Texas live reaction. Want to hear from you guys first and foremost. Yeah, Nolan Com. Congrats, man. That was a fucking hell of a game. That was a hell of. Oh, it's horns down. Never mind, it's reversed. My bad. You're a Florida fan. I'm dumb. Horns down. Yes, first and foremost, I would agree with that. You got a somewhat. Oh, and Tennessee is about to go down 10-0. It looks like. Oh, yeah. So solid start from the SEC and non-con today. So here is main takeaway for me. You talk about a Bama team that goes into Texas. I tell you what we're not going to do. I tell you what we're not going to do. This has nothing to do with me being a fan. This has everything to do with me being right. And I rarely get to celebrate that, as you guys know. But I said this all off season. This is when you give Steve Sarkisian this kind of these kind of toys to play with. He's got a lot of potential to have a big year and a good team. That team lost by 1 point to Alabama. There's zero chance that they can't, there's zero reason why they wouldn't be able to run the table and win the Big 12 or be in serious contention for the playoff based off of what we've seen from Alabama, like in years past. I'm not saying they're good enough to do it, but what I am saying is what we're not going to do is, and you'll see it all day today, the focus of this game will be on how bad Bama is and give zero credit to Texas. At some point, as fans, you need to stop. We are a nation of haters. I say it all the time, but at some point, you kind of got to switch the narrative up of, well, Bama sucked and they should have done this and they didn't get all, they got all the calls or what the fuck ever. And at some point, tip your cap to Texas and be like, man, that's a good football team. That's a good football team. Sark had his team ready, shockingly enough, huh? Backup quarterback puts up almost 300 yards passing combined between Card and Ewers. I thought it was a great game. I thought it was a good game plan from Texas. How about the Texas defense? Holding Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien held himself a little bit too, but it's just, are you surprised by how undisciplined Bama is? No, and I love the fact, that's a great question, Sarthak. It's one of the things I've said for 2 straight years. How do you get a stupid light out in the back of me? I don't like it. This is something I yelled as I was walking to the bathroom to have a sit-down pee and panic attack when I said, I was like, we are so GD undisciplined. And they are. We talk about all the missed calls and all that kind of shit. I'm not saying you start that. I'm saying in general that you saw today, 15 penalties. You didn't get the ones in the end zone that people were upset about, but 15 penalties when a lot of those mattered at like huge times. Will Anderson offsides 3 separate times. Will Anderson on I forgot what down it was. I think it was a second down where he has the late hit penalty. The fucking 3rd and 7 Bryce scrambles for in the late in the 3rd or early 4th, where he's coasting past the line of scrimmage to go out of bounds, and then that happens. Terrible, fucking terrible. Like it was garbage. It just fucking terrible. Was not impressed by that part at all. I think Bama's very undisciplined. Yards per pass, 5.5. At one point that was under 4. The Heisman Trophy winner with that offense was held to under 4 yards per attempt. The blood pressure pill after that. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. That was not great. You look at the numbers here, and Bryce Young goes 7 of 39 for 213. That is tough looking. A lot of just very questionable decisions, I think, from Bama. Was I the only one surprised that they didn't run the ball late? What the fuck was that about? Oh, Sarthak. Sarthak says, how scared are you of a kicker named Auburn potentially beating Bama? Did you see that fucking picture of that kid? Terrified. I mean, terrified. Yeah, I think, but going back to some of the strengths from this Texas team that I thought that were really impressive. Hold on, I have the fucking U.S. Open on right now. some of the strengths that I thought about the Texas team, you didn't see Bijan Robinson getting going necessarily. You saw him getting going in the passing game, which is yet another area where I think, we brought up like how he could exploit that defense. Does Texas win if Ewers stays in? I don't know, and I don't care, to be honest. I don't care to go through a whole thing with Texas fans, which sucks, Sarthak. And I get it. It's going to be easy for people to be like, well, Bama said the same thing about the injuries. I will say in Texas's defense, I don't think he was playing defensive back. I don't think he was coming and blitzing off the corner when he could have had that third down. He looked good early. But I think I think we saw what their offensive potential was during that game. No matter who's at quarterback, Ewers looked good, but also Hudson Card. It's not like Hudson Card's a bad quarterback. He's like the 4th ranked quarterback in the country coming out of high school. All right, so getting back off of some of this stuff of like the cliche things that we're going to hear for the next week. I don't really want to get into would Texas have won if Ewers stayed in? Probably. I don't know, but they didn't, and like they had several opportunities too, and you got a 4th down stop. That fucking call in the end zone was one of the worst calls I've ever seen in American sports. What was that? That was bad. I don't care because it resulted in the way I was hoping it would result. But that was a bad call. That was a bad call for sure. I don't, I will say this, the whole thing about Ewers getting hit. Bryce took a ton of hits today. Took arguably the same hit as he did like a series before. No one was upset about that. Whatever. Ewers is a good quarterback, but still, I think you have to look at the fact that let's look at the positives and one positive thing or multiple positive things from each of these. How about Bijan Robinson getting held to 21 carries to 57 yards from that Bama defense? The Bama defense did not break, which at times it bent the hell out of, which was very surprising. Bama's run game, Bama's offense went stagnant for a long time. You had about 6 or 7 straight drives where you punted the ball away, 5 straight 3-and-outs. I mean, that's like fucking Gene Stallings days. I haven't seen that in forever. 5 straight 3-and-outs. It's crazy. How does this change your win-loss outlook for Bama the rest of the season? Good question. It doesn't, because here's the thing. Bama, what I'm excited to look into, well, I say that. And then you got to actually get into the actual deep dive. I'm excited to look at some of the numbers of Bama and what they've looked like on the road versus at home over the past little while. Now, listen, think about this, okay? I'm going to give you guys a stat. And you guys know I love God, this haircut sucks. I told you a while back. What the fuck am I talking about? I told you guys, and obviously you guys know that this. Hold on, I gotta get a picture of this person. This looks like. Hold on. All right. I told you that this Bama team, I thought had some holes in it. Told you they were on the offensive line. I told y'all Jermaine Burton wasn't shit. I don't know how else to phrase that because I'm still jacked up over this game. 2 receptions, 10 yards. He got 1 target after that drop first down catch he had. We'll say that Holden and Brooks coming out of just nowhere in the fourth quarter, I thought that was huge. And that was really good to see. Xavier Worthy, God, that kid's a talent, huh? Even though he's 164 pounds, good for him, man. Good to see Bama hit multiple receivers for the first time. It seems like in a while they hit 7 different guys. But yeah, there's just several things that I have a question about. Jahmyr Gibbs with 9 carries and 22 yards. He has less than, I think, 60 yards rushing in 2 games. That's a Texas defense. It's hard for people to remove what they did a year ago into now. But
with Geico, we can easily bundle home and car insurance and save even more.
Yeah, that's right. That breakfast burrito.
There isn't too much hot sauce.
It's hard for people to remove those two things from each other in terms of, well, Texas was 5-7 a year ago. This isn't a year ago, okay? In a lot of ways, Bama has a lot of deficiencies that they did have a year ago in terms of the offensive line. I told y'all what the receiving core is going to look like, especially early on, because Jermaine Burton's not the guy, guys. He's not the guy. I'm sure Burton is still an undercover dog. I love that. Love that. So we'll just wrap up real quick because I got to go get ready for this Georgia game as well. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to do this on Facebook later as well. And just this was a lot of fun. Like, well, the game was not. I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like Tyler. But there's just a lot of question marks, I think, that you still have if you are Bama. But again, tip your cap to Texas. Do yourself a favor. Don't be that fan of like, well, Bama sucks because Texas lost. I mean, say Bama sucks all you want because they should have lost that game. Absolutely should have lost that game. But also look across the field and look at a Texas team that just took the number one team in the country, which they will not be tomorrow. I get that. But took the number one team in the country down to the wire. I know what I was going to say earlier. Okay. I got distracted from that fucking Taylor Swift lookalike on TV. Okay. Bama has been a 20.5-point favorite on the road twice in the past 2 seasons. Do you know what those games were? I debated lawn charting myself. What's up, Robert St. Jean? Those games were at A&M, and you lost outright, and then at Auburn, where you should have lost outright. So Bama on the road has become a serious thing to look at. Just the Florida game, I'll tell you this real quick, and I don't – damn, why did I delete that? The 15 penalties, that's not something you think is going to happen very often. But I put this out on Twitter. Bama's had 9 games or 8 or 9 games in the last decade, or actually last 13 years, where they've had 11-plus penalties in a game. Almost all of those have been on the road. They did it twice last year, once at Auburn, once at Florida. They did it 4 times in 2019, and one of those games was at Auburn where they had 13, which is the most ever under Nick Saban. They had 11 penalties in the first half today. So there's a lot to clean up from Texas is going to be a problem with our training. I fucking told y'all. What did y'all think was going to happen with Texas with all of that talent and one of the best offensive minds in the game? Craziness. Anyway, love you guys to death. We'll do this again later on Facebook, not on here, or if I can get the Facebook thing hooked up to here. Sounds good. But listen, do yourself a favor. Next time you say I'm hedging, better give me the benefit of the fucking doubt. Told y'all Texas was going to be better than we thought. Love you guys to death. You guys have a great rest of the afternoon. I hope all your teams win, unless you are Auburn. And we'll talk later tonight on the Facebook Live. Love y'all. Bye.